Welcome in, Big Blue Nation, to another episode of the Cats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Johnston, joined by co-host Jacob Boyers and Tyler Britton. Guys, we have another fun episode here for the fans today. All-time Orlando Tubby Smith era draft. I mean, Tubby, what else can you say about him? One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Obviously, my favorite Kentucky player of all time was during this era. Jacob, what are you most looking forward to for this podcast? And you got any secrets? Did you learn anything from last draft?
Well, no. I mean, my team won last draft, so I think if I come in with the same game plan, I'm good. But this one, I think, is going to be more of just kind of a trip down memory lane. I know you're probably a little young, Cam. The old guy over here with all the gray hairs. I remember being a child watching most of these teams and these guys. So, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, you and Tyler really dragging out the age of this podcast. You know, we'd probably hit a lot more of the youth demographic if we didn't have you two on. But, you guys bring us that wisdom, or at least Jacob brings us that wisdom with Kentucky athletics.
I appreciate that.
Tyler, we're still working on figuring out what you bring wisdom-wise. We'll figure it out at some point. Hopefully, you showcase some of that here during the Tubby Smith draft.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything from the Calipari draft? Can you say the name De'Aaron Fox or Oscar Tshiebwe yet?
Oscar Tshiebwe. Yes, I have done my research. Looking forward to doing the Orlando Tubby Smith era here. Look through the rosters here, look through the names, and we got some good names to come about here. So I'm excited to do this draft. Look, I won the last draft. I don't think you guys enjoyed my opinion, but this is definitely going to be a second win for Tyler here. So hopefully, with this one, we can actually upload this one to social media, maybe do a poll. I don't know, because I think the fans would side with me on this, but except for this.
Your team might have won the NIT.
Tyler, I will say, just from the text messages I received, you had the two most hated picks of the draft, and they were your third and fourth round picks. So just to give you that information, obviously the Trey Lyles pick, I mean, that's been the most scrutinized pick of the draft.
Hey. If I wanted your opinion.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you didn't ask for my opinion, so that's why your team's finishing last behind both Boyers and I. Hopefully you can rebound in this Tubby Smith draft. But, guys, we do have some good news to bring up. Jacob, I know you specifically. Negativity on this Kentucky football program. But this has got to be a positive. 4-star quarterback Matt Ponatowski out of Moeller High School commits to the Wildcats over the weekend. Just a huge get. Obviously had offers from a lot of big schools as well. Visited Oregon, Alabama, and some of those programs. And, still recruiting the state of Ohio. Vince leaves, you think that's going to be a spot where we just kind of pack up and leave and aren't able to get those guys, but we're still able to get probably one of the best athletes in Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, Gatorade Player of the Year in two sports as a junior, I think that's, obviously pretty impressive. I mean, it'll be kind of cool to have a player that we can follow, play baseball and football. But yeah, from the football perspective, I'm not going to be Mr. Negative today. I'm going to give it, this commitment has given Stoops I'll give him a 2-week pass of me, being Mr. Debbie Downer. But I think it shows a lot, and maybe it's in a slightly better spot than I thought. I still don't have very high expectations for this upcoming season, but if Stoops is able to convince a kid that turned down Alabama, Michigan, handful of other big-time programs, and he can convince them that, he's going to be here for 3 to 4 or 5 years and, have this kid ready to play, I think it's a positive. So, no negativity out of me this week. I am Kentucky football sunshine pumper for the next week and a half.
I love it. I mean, even think about it for the baseball program. I mean, this is a guy who obviously he's not eligible for this draft, but next year's draft, I mean, they're talking about a top 20 pick, a first-round pick. There is still that chance that, he does sign out of high school and, never goes to the University of Kentucky and just takes his minor league career. Obviously, that would be heartbreaking. He could do, what Kyler Murray did, sign a minor league contract and still play at the University of Oklahoma. He could still go down that track. But when you think about some of the guys who have done both, played football and baseball, Kyler Murray, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, going back, John Elway, Tom. I know you're probably going to mention Tom Brady. I mean, there's lots of guys that think about some of like the best athletes and some of the best guys usually have that dual sport background. And for a 17-year-old that can throw 97 and he's a shortstop, not even a pitcher across the diamond, and like you mentioned, Jacob, Gatorade Player of the Year as a junior for baseball and football. I mean, that's just insane. So getting him and locking him up, especially this early in the cycle, we're going to have to keep a hold of him because obviously we still have a full calendar year to hold on to him. But I couldn't be more excited, at least what we've done in the recruiting trail since Vince's departure, June and going into July.
Yeah, I think if anything, it sends a better message rather than the player itself. Maybe, not to say this guy won't be, a really good player. Coming up here in Ohio, I've heard a handful of fans give him the Joe Burrow comparison. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see on that. But they talk about, kid, he can, solid arm, quick decision maker, doesn't make a ton of mistakes. So, and then to your point on the baseball cam, I'm not going to act like I follow baseball recruiting extremely closely or, pay too much attention. But, for a team that wasn't supposed to be very good last year that made the College World Series, Mingion's done a great job of getting a lot of these guys back. He's hit the portal really well from what you can kind of tell. And then to go sign one of the top recruits, I think it's pretty impressive. And, Mingion might be building something over there as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's hopefully, Stoops is the last leg, really. Obviously the basketball program's building, baseball program's been building, and a guy like Ponatowski can really help with both of them. Switching gears a little bit, speaking of that basketball program, Jasper Johnson wins the gold medal with Team USA in the under-19. Didn't play too much, but like we talked about, Jacob, shot the ball well from the perimeter, and I think that's really good to see because that's something we're going to need for this team, especially to get where we want to in March.
Yeah, the big question mark with this team is do they have enough knockdown shooters? And, I mean, obviously it's a small sample size, but Jasper, shot 40% from behind the arc for Team USA. So I think that's obviously extremely positive to see. And, his first two games he didn't play very well or play a ton of minutes, but he had a couple, 13, 15-point games there towards the end. So I think as he kind of found his rhythm, I expect big things out of Jasper this year, and to be able to see him kind of be that knockdown shooter, I think that could really elevate this team in general.
Yeah, I really do think it will. And just one quick shout out before we start our Tubby Smith draft. Tyler, you mentioned it before we started. Randall Cobb and Tayshaun Prince both named to the Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame. So round of applause to both of those guys. I mean, Tyler, I know you know a good amount about Randall Cobb. Jacob, obviously, we're going to take Tayshaun Prince pretty early in this draft. He might be a first-round selection here coming up. So just huge congratulations to those guys. I know they get honored a little bit later in September, but it's good to see that come down the pipeline.
Yeah, well overdue for Tayshaun. I mean, really for both of those guys. But I mean, Cobb was a little, but yeah, Tayshaun obviously well-deserving along with Randall.
Yep. Tyler, got anything to say about Randall Cobb? I mean, you followed his NFL career a little bit more closely than his Kentucky career, but his Kentucky career, man, quarterback, running back, receiver. I mean, Lynn Bowden, just a little bit better, a lot of a better pro career. Randall Cobb really saved Kentucky football there during that tenure.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about his playing days at Kentucky. Transparently, I didn't get to watch a lot of them, but watching his NFL career was exciting to watch. I know he got a chance to play with two legendary quarterbacks there during his career. So, shout out to Randall Cobb. It was a great career for him. I'm sure he'll have stories to share for decades to follow, and I'm glad to bring that back to Kentucky football. I'm sure that leads to some excitement for the fan base, current players, and then hopefully some future recruits too.
Yep, hopefully so. And Jacob, do you remember where we got Randall Cobb from? Where he was from? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I know. Not off the top of my head. You're going to have to educate me.
From Knoxville, Tennessee. So that recruitment, man, it was huge. Getting him out of Knoxville, didn't put on that dirty orange. Obviously, Kentucky legend. One of the first guys you think of when you think of the best cats to put on that uniform.
Absolutely.
You guys got anything else to say before I spin this wheel and we see who gets the number one overall pick for the Tubby Smith era draft?
I want to make a quick correction here. I did make a mistake. He did not play for two legendary quarterbacks. He only played for the one. For some reason, I thought he crossed over with Brett, but he did not. Clarification.
Tom,
we appreciate accountability on this podcast.
We at least like the hand up. All right, let's see here. I'm getting the wheels started here. Let's see who's going to take the first pick of the draft here. Yes. All right. Well,
I didn't
I mean,
see it. It was
this is an open and shut case. I get first pick overall. I mean, you see the jersey behind me. Even if it's not the logical pick here,
one.
even if the team builder in me says I should go a different way, there's an emotional value to getting Rajon Rondo here. He's going 1-1 for me. I know that's going to be scrutinized. There's a lot of good players during this Tubby Smith era, and we're going to get into a lot of them. This is just a guy that no matter where he goes, he finds a way to help the team win. One, if not the best passer of all time. One of the smartest IQ guys as well. Give me Rajon Rondo, favorite player of all time. He's going 1-1. I would like to have gotten him at 2 or 3 potentially, but guess what? We're going to go ahead and make sure.
Not taking the chance.
I'm not taking the chance, so I'm making sure I'm getting the general of my team here at 1-1.
Good. I mean, I think it's I love Rondo. I understand your emotional connection. I think it's a slight reach, here 1-1, but hey, I'm not going to be mad at it. Obviously, one of our favorites.
Well, what a career he had. I mean, both Kentucky and in the pros. I mean, he did win the championship there with the Lakers too, and he did really good with Boston. So I mean,
that's not
what a career this guy is.
Tom.
Hmm?
We're you think of the championship in green. You don't just come out and say the championship with the Lakers to start.
That was the most recent one I was thinking of, but
I'm not sure where
he had a hell of a career. That's what I was getting at.
That 2008 title run, and I don't know if you remember like the 2011 his Eastern Conference Finals run when really Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and those guys really started to deteriorate towards the end of their career. And he was throwing up 40 against prime LeBron.
The guy guarded LeBron.
I mean, don't even get me started. I could turn this into like a 35, 40-minute podcast on just the first overall pick. So I did spin the wheel. There's only one thing that's changed, Jacob. It's you and I switching places. Tyler's still stuck right in there at that 2 spot. Tyler Britton, you are up with the second overall pick.
Well, I mean, look, if you're going to take maybe the best point guard on the list here, I'm going to have to go with the best small forward here on the list, which is going to be Tayshaun Prince. We were just talking about him. Look, he's an elite shooter. He's an elite defender. He's an overall just a beast on the court here. Hell of an NBA career, played 12 years, NBA champion as well, all NBA defensive player of the year. So can't go wrong with him. He absolutely just owns the floor. I think between Reg and I, we absolutely own the first 2 picks of the draft.
Well, I mean, I don't know how Boyers is supposed to own the first 2 picks of the draft because he hasn't been yet. So, but he's gonna have back-to-back at 3 and 4. I love that Tayshaun pick. Especially, I think there's a little bit not too big of a selection when it comes to wings and, that mid-range guy. Kind of like we talked about with Calipari. Not too many wings in there as well. I mean, Tayshaun Prince, what else is there to say? He had a great career with Detroit. He's now general manager or he's in the front office with the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, talk about a guy who just knows basketball through and through. Jacob, I know obviously we were a little young during the time, but you've seen the clips. 5 threes against North Carolina. You know where I'm going with this. That last one he pulls up from the logo. It's like 30
He
seconds.
had the puppy set when he got off the bus.
Exactly.
I really, once you took Rondo, I was begging for the second pick. I really wanted Tayshaun. I will tell you, growing up, he was by far my favorite player. My dad always talks about, downstairs in our room in our house, I had the little basketball hoop, and I was 6, 7 years old down there shooting, and I would just yell Tayshaun. So I always pretended to be Tayshaun. He was awesome. So a little upset that Tyler was able to steal that one from me. But with my pick, I'm going to go with. I mean, right there with Tayshaun. This is kind of the exciting thing about the Tubby draft is I think it's not so much a 1-1 like Anthony Davis. Don't get me wrong, I probably would have taken Tayshaun, but give me Keith Bogans, one of the most underrated players to play here. I mean, an elite scorer, what he did that 03 season was up there is one of the best guard seasons out there. And, I'll take Keith Bogans. And then I guess I'm right back up, so I'm going to follow that up. the problem with the Tubby era is I feel like there's quite a bit of guards. So there's another guard I want to take, but I think I'm going to hold off. And I'm going to go get another just dog rebounder, a guy that had a long time career in the NBA, and I'm going to come back and take Chuck Hayes.
Oh, you son of a gun. That was my next one.
Those would be my two.
And Chuck Hayes, that free throw form is kind of what he's known from in the NBA. But man, I miss just that team in general with Rondo and all those guys. That was a great team to watch. And then, like you mentioned, Keith Bogan's probably one of the just more underrated Kentucky players of all time.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was that team. Wasn't healthy towards the end of the stretch there. They probably would have made a bigger run than they did. And, I mean, he carved out, a 10, 12-year NBA career as well, just being a role man, journeyman.
Yep. His jersey belongs to Hang in Rupp Arena, I think. And
there's a lot of these guys that deserve to have their name hung in Rupp Arena.
Absolutely.
That's a whole problem for another day. There's a lot of guys that need that recognition. All right, Tyler. 5th overall. It looks like Chuck Hayes was going to be one of your guys here, so it looks like he was just taken off your list. Where are you going here?
Yeah, it was a tough take because that was going to be a different route I was going to build my team here. I will say, Boyers, that was a really good take on your part. Look, I mean, I guess my next route here is I'm going to go big here. I'm going to go to the national champion himself, Nazir Muhammad from back in '98 there. Great player here, strong rebounder, efficient post scorer, had 18-year NBA career and an NBA champion as well. I mean, you can't say anything more. This guy was an absolute beast on the court, and he's going to be an absolute beast on my team as well.
Yeah, Nazir Muhammad's also I feel like that whole '98 team just in general was kind of forgotten about for whatever reason. I don't think they were as good as that '96 national championship team, so that's probably why they get slept on a little bit. But Nazir was going to be my pick there at 6 overall, so not happy you took him, Tom, but I think that was a great pick on your end.
Yeah, Nazir, another guy with kind of a long NBA career that maybe you didn't expect, but, really kind of found his niche in the NBA. I mean, you talk about a guy that, came up at the perfect time. I mean, could you imagine Nazir trying to come out now and, there's not a team in the world that would take him, but, and he's been involved in pro basketball even after his playing days. Does a lot of front office stuff, kind of like Tayshaun. So Tyler's also building maybe the best NBA front office team here.
I mean, we didn't like Tyler's, starting lineup from his Calipari era draft. So he's really getting off to a hot start here with the Tubby Smith era. I like both of Tyler's picks. I think those are both great. And now, I'm starting to struggle here. Obviously, my top 2 bigs are off the board. So do I pivot here? And I think this is where I'm going to pivot. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm gonna get out there now. Not a huge fan of the Sun. Repping the Arkansas Razorbacks still has a little bit of a hold on me. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Final Four most outstanding player. Give me Jeff Shepard here at my 2 guard. I mean, he was great that entire 97-98 year. 14 points per game, 4 boards, 2.5 assists. I mean, really just did a lot and was on the cover of Sports Illustrated for when he won the 98. So like to get Jeff Shepard here. And now this is where I really struggle because we mentioned the wings. There's not too many wings to get. Do I go ahead and get one? But I don't want the bigs to keep going. The bigs are flying off the board right now. It's where I really struggle. Obviously, I'm going to take him for his time. Maybe not necessarily with Tubby Smith, but a guy who put 50-plus points up on Tennessee. I'm taking Jody Meeks. I need a shooter with Jeff and with Rondo.
See, I think we just got to combine Billy Clyde in here. I mean, there's some names I got here.
We can combine them a little bit, but there's some guys that have to stay off the list. I think Jody Meeks. I mean, there's really not much more you can say about him. I mean, anytime he had the ball in his hands, it was going up. He was the original, maybe the original Steph, where he was pulling up from anywhere. That same time, right around Jimmer as well. I mean, 54 against Tennessee in that ugly building. That's when they had the full checkerboards going for the entire court. And, I mean, I don't have much more to say about Jody Meeks. Carved out a nice, solid career, played with the Lakers for a bit as well. Jody Meeks, one of the all-time greats at the University of Kentucky. I'm running a little bit of a smaller lineup here, so I'm going to have to get a couple bigs here soon. But I like starting off with Rajon, Jeff Shepard, and Jody Meeks.
Yeah, I love the pick. I figured Jody wouldn't kind of be there when it came back to me, but a guy that played on such a bad team and played for such a bad coach that he kind of got overshadowed. The biggest, I think, what if of maybe Kentucky basketball of all time. What if Jody Meeks decided to return for that senior year?
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
That would have been. I mean, that very well could have been the first perfect team ever, since of the modern era. But I mean, you look at it. A team lost 2 games all season in the regular season. All they were missing was a shooter. I mean, imagine instead of playing Darnell Dotson, you got to throw Jody Meeks out there and just, I don't know. But biggest what if of all time. Love the pick. Great pick.
I wonder if we could have Jody on the podcast if we asked him. Looking at it now, would you trade it in? Would you come back for that 4th year? Potentially get number 9. Well, 8 at that time, I guess it would have been. Potentially get number 8. I don't know. I think he might have changed it up a little bit, but he also did carve out a good NBA career, so he did pretty well for himself there as well.
I mean, imagine winning a national championship in Cal's first year.
Changes the whole narrative, the whole story of a lot of
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, Tyler, you are back on the board. Your 3rd pick here. You started off with Tayshaun Prince and Nazir Muhammad. 2 good picks from you. See if you can follow up with the 3rd.
Yeah, I think I don't know where this guy ranks on your guys' list after doing some evaluation here. I want to go a little bit fast here. I want a defensive-minded leader. Another national championship as well for this guy, Wayne Turner, for my point guard. I want to go ahead and put him in my lineup. He played a little bit in the NBA. He played a little bit overseas as well, but overall, just solid player. He really built this team up in that national championship team. So I'm going to put him on my roster as well.
That one's a steal, Tyler. That was when I took Chuck Hayes and I said there's another guard I'm thinking about. Wayne Turner would have been my next pick. I mean, an SEC tournament MVP, 2-time national champ, just really solid player and a good pick. So I guess that would throw me back on the board here. And now we're getting interesting here.
It's been a little tough.
Oh man. Oh, I'm gonna go. I gotta be honest. I don't know how I'm gonna get 8 players out of here, but I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna solidify the front court. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Scott Padgett. I think him and Chuck Hayes down there give me a pretty good front court, and then to snag another wing, man. There's not many, so I'm gonna take a stretch here. I'm gonna go ahead and take Azubuike, another just solid NBA player. Had some good years under Tubby. Again, just not a ton of threes out there that I think can really help push the needle. But I'll go ahead and take Azubuike, and in the famous words of Tubby Smith, if we can get him to. He said he looks like Tarzan, plays like Jan. If we can get him to play with that dog in him, we'll be all right.
Hey, I don't think that's a stretch pick at all here. I think that's probably the most valuable pick that's been in there. I mean, you're talking about a super athletic guy that could rise above guys. I mean, take him to the rim. Also had a really great shot. Works with the Golden State Warriors now.
Yep.
I love your Keith Bogans pick, obviously, but I think that Khalil Azubuike pick is really really good, especially for you got him value-wise, because that's who I was down between when I was going with Jody Meeks and Molina. So for you to get him 3 picks later, I think that is a very good pick.
We're a lot more we're a lot nicer to each other this go around than the Cal. We were just saying, that's a great pick. You got great value. We're not, calling Tyler an idiot.
Not yet. You still got some time. We still got 5 picks from Tom here, so.
I've been a little nice. We've been a little too nice to Mr. Britton today.
Because I made you start off with some positivity with the football news, and now it's just kind of carried over. Maybe you can take this in life too. Start with positivity and just let it go throughout your day, and we'll see how it goes. Tyler, we'll see if we're going to call you an idiot after this pick here. go ahead and give it to us. What's your fourth round selection?
Well, really quick, I'll give credit to Boyers as well because I had Azubuike as my next pick as well. So I thought he was a great player. Obviously a tough defender there, and then Scott Padgett as well. I mean, you're just talking about a big IQ there for a player. So both those guys were really good picks. Really kind of wish I would have taken one of them, but that's all right. With my next pick here, I'm going to go with a little bit of a hybrid player here, put him in the power forward spot, but he's a versatile player. He's an inside-out scorer, another high IQ basketball player himself. Eric Daniels, I'm going to put him on my team. All-SEC performer here, had another brief NBA stint with the Kings, and then a long overseas career as well. But overall, just a solid player, putting him down on my power forward.
I like the pick, Tom. I like it. I will say that was not going to be one of mine, so I'm actually glad. That's the first big that hasn't been spiked out right in front of me. And, I think this guy gets a little bit of a bad rap because, like you mentioned, Jacob, with Jody Meeks, he was just on teams that weren't necessarily – they just weren't great. I mean, they weren't bad, but he was a part of that three-headed monster, I guess you would say, with Rondo. Patrick Sparks, he's definitely going to get mentioned a little bit later. I know somebody's going to take him. But I'm going here with Randolph Morris. I mean, 13 points per game his sophomore year, 6 boards. Pro career didn't really turn out how we would like. Obviously, he had knee issues as well. But Randolph Morris, he was a good low post scorer. I'm taking this back to the old days of basketball, man. We're not really going to spread you out. I got a guy who's going to be able to facilitate. Hopefully, Randolph gets a little bit more juice in those knees and he can run with Rajon and we can get him out on the break. But I'm going to spread you out a little bit with Jody Meeks and Jeff Shepard knock down the three. Obviously, I'm asking for Rondo's later career threes rather than his Kentucky days. But I like adding Randolph Morris here. He was probably going to be my second big that I was going to take outside of Chuck Hayes. And Nazi Muhammad. I'll take that back. So getting him here this late, I like that pick as well. And really, I think there's a huge drop-off after this when you look at the bigs. So I'm going to have to go ahead and get Jamal McGlure as well. I'm going to get both bigs, just run them at the 4 and 5 because after that, I think there's a big step down from getting those two. And I'm really rounding out my starting 5 with – I was running a little small with Jody Meeks, Rondo, and Jeff Shepard, but now getting 2 big bruisers in Randolph Morris and Jamal McGlure. Going to be able to get a lot of rebounds. We're going to have to find a way to create some space on the floor, but hopefully with our bench, we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I like it. Back-to-back good picks. I feel like we're just clapping for each other. This is such a positive and fun episode here. Come on, Tyler. Let me call you an idiot.
I don't know. It definitely was something in the air. I don't know what it is. Boys, you're the most negative person I know. I think that's the first time I've seen you positive on a podcast. So lose a little dig for you there. But with my pick here, the only thing I'm missing out on the court right now is my shooting guard here. So I'm going to go ahead and take Gerald Finch here. He's a tough two-way guard, so I can rely on him both. Here we go.
I like it.
He's a clutch scorer. He's an all-SEC performer and leader on the court too. So you can't go wrong with him here on the court. He played a little bit in the NBA. He also was a little bit overseas star as well. If you haven't picked up on it, I like the hybrid guys. They're not NBA superstars for a long career, but they play a little bit in the NBA and they like to play a little bit overseas. I like those guys. I don't know what it is. They're going to be the best team ever. So playing together under Tom's team.
I'm concerned about the head coach. That's my biggest concern. Tyler, you at the head coach seems like an absolute nightmare. So I think you have to be like John Calipari. You have to out-recruit Jacob and I, and you got to be able to get more talent on the floor. But unfortunately, I think Jacob and I might do a little bit of like the 2014, 2015 Wisconsin and not have as much talent, but still be able to take you and finish it off. Jacob, you got back-to-back picks here. Obviously, you still need your go-to guy here. You still need the one who's going to be running it for you.
Man, I keep going back and forth because there's 3 guys I'm looking at here, and I know obviously there's 3 guards, and 2 of them I do want, and I just don't think they're going to be there. But if you tell me like I kind of need like a traditional point guard, I need someone to run that spot. I think I got to go Patrick Sparks. You mentioned him just a minute ago, Cam. I mean there's some guards here, but I just think a traditional point guard, it's him. I'll never forget that Michigan State game watching, reviewing that shot for, 3 hours it felt like to try to decide if his foot was on the line or not. But yeah, also just you're a love for Rondo. I was always more of the Sparks guy when they were together. I absolutely loved Patrick Sparks. So from WKU to UK, I got to take him, and
I'll say what. I love Patrick Sparks. Honestly, at that time, like you mentioned, that might have been, it was like 1A, 1B, who was my favorite player, Rondo and Patrick Sparks. But when you're talking about running them as a traditional point guard, that's where I've got to pump the brakes and sound the alarms. Patrick Sparks is in no way, shape, or form your traditional one.
We're going to get shots up, baby.
You're going to get shots up, but I'm not sure who's going to be bringing the ball up the court when you're looking at Rondo and Jeff Shepard playing defense on you. I like the pick. I just don't know if I like where you're using them at. Love Patrick Sparks, a little P-sizzle. I love to see it, but let's see if you can add a little bit of point guard help maybe with your first bench pick. Are you going to go big or maybe to the wings?
Well, I was thinking big only because I only have like one more big on my whole big board. So at some point my bench is probably going to be really small. But I think with him sitting there, I won't forgive myself if I don't take Ramal Smooth Bradley. Another one, those backcourts of him and, Joe Crawford, ton of fun to watch. Obviously not the best teams that first Gillespie year, but, they really kind of – it's insane, especially when you look at that second-year Gillespie team. Like, how does that team not make the tournament? But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Ramel, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to call you out like Tyler Britton there.
Work on my pronunciation there.
Yeah, smooth.
If this was me, you'd been all over my case. I need a hand up on that one.
I corrected it instantly.
I need a correction in your hand risen.
I like that pick. Honestly, if you would have switched the order of the way you just did those and told me you had Ramel starting at the 1 and Patrick Sparks coming off the bench as a little fire plug coming off the bench, get those shots up, I would have really loved it. Obviously, you can change it now that you got the team going. So
there might be a time. There might be a time we have all three of them on those two and Bogans, and we go small. I got options, buddy. I got options.
You got options for sure. I like the Ramel pick there. I think you really did balance it out after getting Patrick Sparks. So, all right, Tyler, you're up. Your first bench guy. Who are you going with?
Yeah, for a first bench player here, I need someone to come off the bench and still be effective on my team. So we're going to go ahead with Joe Crawford here off the bench here. He's a smooth scorer as well, reliable in the big games. As a senior leader, especially late in Tubby's tenure there. I did play a little bit in the NBA and in the G League. So I'm going to go ahead and give Joe Crawford the first one off the bench.
I'm going to give Tom a little credit here. I think that's probably the steal of the draft thus far. Joe Crawford was that team that year as well. And I think it was actually the D League at that time, Tyler. I don't even know if that was actually the G League. I think back then it was still the D League, the developmental league, but whatever reason they've gone to change that. But I do really like that Joe Crawford pick. He was going to be my next pick, so you were able to steal him from right underneath me there. And now, man, I'm struggling here because guys. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get myself a big point guard to run the show. He ended up getting homesick and transferring away. One of my favorite players as well. I know I've said that about a lot of these guys, but for some reason, these teams, this like 06, 07, 05 were my adolescence. I'm like 7 years old and 6 years old watching these guys, idolizing them. I'm going to go ahead and take Derek Jasper. I'm going to get him off the bench. Obviously, transferred him from San Diego State. Had a good year with us. I like Derek Jasper. I wish he would have stayed for a little bit longer time, but I like Derek and I like what he's going to bring to my team. Where I start to struggle is these next picks. Obviously, starting to run out of names here. Like I mentioned, I was 5. That 97, 98 team, I wasn't born yet when they won that national title and hoisted that. So starting to run off, just memories and stories that have been told. And Jacob, I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. I really don't. But I'm looking at these guys. I'm going to take Marquise Estel here. I'm going to go ahead and get a big. I was down between him and one other. You might know who the other is. He's got a great elite nickname. I actually, on the way back from the SEC tournament, Tyler, I told you this. I'm not sure if you remember. I saw him at the Buc-ee's on the way back from the SEC tournament, so it was good to see him, talk to him for a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get Derek Jasper and Marquise Estel, and that'll only leave me with one pick, so Tyler, you're up.
Yeah, I remember you sharing that story a little bit, and it was a good story for sure, but not as good as a story of how Tom's team is just the best team that was ever created. So, look, for my second bench player here, I'm going to go ahead and take a guy who was a wing shooter and a top defender as well. He was another national champion on the 98 team with a brief pro career. We're going to go ahead and take Allen Edwards off the board and put him on my seventh spot here.
A little Allen Edwards call out, Tom. I like it. I wasn't sure where you were going with that. And seeing you get Allen, get a nice little shooter there for your team. I like it. Jacob, you are down to your last two picks. I know you're struggling. You're adding to the depth chart. You're getting the draft board all going, but it looks like you're feeling confident with what you got left. So go ahead and fire it at me. Who you got?
I don't know if I feel confident, but I did have two names circled here as to take here in this spot. And neither one of them got taken by you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and give me Cliff Hawkins as another guard off the bench, and then I gotta get a big. And I know there's not a ton out there. I'm gonna go ahead and take Perry Stevenson. I think he, the perfect backup big man. Again, there's just not a ton floating out there. With McGlure and that's all off the board. I'm gonna go ahead. Take Perry Stevenson, and I like my team. And quick, Cam, what's your favorite Perry Stevenson moment at Kentucky?
I mean, probably just oops that he'd catch, throw him down. Obviously, he's got the great name of Pop-Tart. That's what I was referring to earlier. And he was the guy I ran into at Buc-ee's. That's who I was referring to. So I figured he was coming off the board. I was down between Marquise Estel and Perry Stevenson. And so you see him come off the board just a pick later, 2 picks later. I'm not surprised.
I agree with you. The only thing I disagree with, the best Perry Stevenson moment, the moment I will remember forever, was when Billy Gillespie had him block a free throw.
We're talking about the Tubby times. I wasn't thinking about the
I understand, but how can you forget about Billy Clyde asking that man to jump up and block a free throw?
Sounds like something Tyler would do as a head coach for his basketball team.
I would say Tom and Gillespie have a lot of similarities.
That's a tough dig at Tom's character. I don't know about that one, but Tyler,
I could see Tom singing a little karaoke with Billy G down in Lexington on a Saturday night after a game.
Tyler, you got anything to fire back at there? He just took a pretty big shot at you. We were positive, hyping each other up.
Nice to Tyler.
No, he was too nice. He just came out of nowhere with that one.
I would hang out with Billy G in a heartbeat. If you told me Billy G was heading to the bar to do some karaoke, I would be there.
I mean, it's no surprise that boys are trying to take digs at people. I mean, it can be a backhanded compliment all you want. Oh, you can pitch it any way you want to, but it is what it is. It's okay. People bitch when people complain when they're the third best team in the draft. It is what it is. But
Billy G didn't have a wife because he was married to basketball.
It's true.
True. I mean,
Tyler Britton doesn't have a wife because he's married to the love of the game and he loves it. I mean, that's where we're at now. Tyler, you have your last pick of the draft here. Who are you going to round out your team with?
Yeah, I think I need one more big guy on my roster coming off the bench here. I went with with 2 shooting guards for my bench. So to go ahead and get myself a nice big to round things out, I'm going to go with someone who's a little bit more skilled in the lower post with a soft touch to his hand here. Reliable interior presence. We're going to go with Marquise Estel. Played professionally overseas a little bit.
I've already selected.
Who took him?
I just took him with my last pick.
We talked about him for 5 minutes.
I didn't cross him off. I must have crossed someone else off. That's not good.
Positivity and just call Tyler an idiot.
How you can call him an idiot? It's all fully deserved now.
I was about to big man. I'm sitting here in my head and looking at my list. I'm like, I don't know where he's going here.
I mean, there's another guy that's kind of similar, and he's a little more versatile, so I'll go with this guy. He was actually a backup pick.
Harry Stevenson.
No. We'll go with Jules Camera here. Athletic big, shot blocker, rotational front.
Can you say the last name one more time?
Camara. He played overseas as well, but he's going to be versatile for me. So he'll round out my ace spot here on the bench, giving me the most elite team in the game going into next year.
Obviously, having the Mr. Irrelevant pick, it's always a little tough trying to figure out who you're going to take. I've got my guy. I know this might not be a widespread love pick, but it's a guy who was a favorite of mine, stuck around through Tubby and Billy G. Give him to me. Give me Ramon Harris. I'm going to go ahead and get him in here. Our only player that I still know of from Anchorage, Alaska. So getting him in here, getting him a part of this team. Obviously was never a huge part of any of those teams, but a great depth piece. And I need a wing. I need a little bit of versatile size. So rounding out my team with Ramon Harris.
I mean, we got to the point where there's not a lot. I mean, if I had to go one more pick, I might have gone with the, Northern Kentucky legend of Mark Krebs. We were getting a little, we were dwindling down a little. I was about to go walk-ons.
I don't know if I would have went that far. Still had guys like Robbie Moss, Michael Bradley, obviously Woo. And Woo as well.
Woo Kosh.
Yeah. I thought that's where Tyler was going when he was going with his having Marquise Estel getting drafted twice. That's where I thought he was going with that one before we did. But who wants to go ahead and start us off?
I was going to go with Michael Bradley was the next one that I had circled on my list, just someone to put on the roster. But he just barely missed a cut here. So
I can't believe nobody took Tubby's son, Tubby's kin, Saul Smith. How's he not getting taken?
Well, I mean, let's be real. He wasn't very good.
I will say he was a lot better than Brad, though. So in just the Tubby versus John Calipari draft, I'm taking Saul over Brad any day of the week. Jacob, you had the third pick like I did last week, so you had the double dip. Go ahead and recap your team for us. Let us know who your starting lineup is, because there was a little bit of confrontation there with who's going to be running the one. What are you setting as your final lineup here?
Yeah, well, let's start with the obvious. So we got Bogans at the 2. I think I got probably the best scorer in the draft. I think I got the best wing scorer.
Yeah, Jody Meeks is still a name.
I mean, you yelled at me when I tried to say, "Are we including the Tubby and the Gillespie?" If we're just talking Tubby, you got a freshman year Jody Meeks. So I don't know. But anyway, we'll go Bogans. We'll play Azubuike at the 3, Hayes and Pageant 4, 5, however kind of you want to slice it up. Probably Pageant at the 5. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna leave Patrick Sparks in there at the 1. Between him and Keith Bogans, one of them will get the ball up the floor, and then from there, watch out because we're lighting it up. And then there's gonna be some times where we're gonna pull Azubuike out. We're gonna go small. Probably can't do it when I'm playing Tyler's team because Tayshawn's going to be such a nightmare matchup without Azubuike. But when I do play him, I do have Azubuike out there. But when I'm going up against you, Cam, I'm going to, there's going to be a lot of times we're going to see, Ramel, Bogans, and Patrick Sparks in there all at the same time. And I think you're going to have a tough time keeping up with us. You do have Rajon, but, we're going to work the ball around the perimeter and bang some threes.
I don't think you're giving my guards enough credit for their defensive prowess. I really don't.
Jody, freshman Jody Meeks is getting eaten alive on defense.
He might be, but guess what? He's also putting 54 in your face. So we got that going. Tyler, I'm actually very impressed with your team. Honestly, if you'd have told me this is going to be who you got from this draft, I would have been surprised. So go ahead and give us your starting 5 and then your 3 off the bench.
Sure. I mean, we got Wayne Turner at the point guard here. Just a fantastic player. He's fast. He's defense-minded. He's a leader on the court. He's a national champion, so you can't say enough about him. You got Gerald Fitch as well. Another guy. He's a tough two-way player. He's a clutch scorer. He's going to be great there at the guard. You got Tayshawn Prince. Can't say anything else. I mean, he just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. You got to take him. Probably better than Rondo, if I'm being honest, but Rondo is obviously the fan favorite here. So we'll go ahead and put that there at the small forward here. We got Eric Daniels as well. Eric Daniels, another versatile forward here. Going to be a great asset. And then Nazir Muhammad as well for the first 5 here. Followed with a good bench here. We got Joe Crawford, Alan Edwards, and Jules Kamara here to make sure we have a good versatile bench that can come off and play well here against you two. So I'm very confident about my team. I think I like my picks as well, Reg. I think that I can compete against either one of you and have a good battle. So I'd love to see what the fans can pick here.
Yeah, I'll say you're definitely you might have to have Coach Cal coach that team because you're only rotating 6 guys.
Yeah,
It's like a typical Coach Cal team because I don't think you're getting Alan Edwards and Jules Kamara to come off the bench playing much time for you. That's where I think you started to take a little bit of a dip. Last week, your best work was off the bench. This week, you find a way to come out strong and get a great starting 5. And, little down your leg at the end with the last 2 picks. But, hey, I do like the team overall. Jacob, you got any issues with what Tyler had going over there?
No, I mean, and you talk about his last 2 picks. I mean, it got tough there at the end. So, I was surprised he took Alan Edwards over Cliff Hawkins, but that's really the only kind of critique I have. He kind of let that one fall to me. So, can't be too upset. Probably his best work. This is probably his most knowledgeable Kentucky take in general. You know what I mean?
So to be fair, Cliff Edwards was my next pick if you did not pick him. So thanks.
I appreciate you combining the 2 of your players.
Yeah, just made 2 players into 1, so we'll try and figure it out.
Alan Edwards, Cliff Hawkins.
Or Cliff Hawkins. Sorry, Cliff Hawkins.
The best quarterback of all time, that Tom Breeze, man, he was just an absolute star. I love him.
All right.
I'll go ahead and recap my team. And obviously, I do think Tyler probably got the consensus 1-1 at the 2nd overall pick. But I had to get him, obviously. Rajon Rondo. I'm going to die on this hill. Best Kentucky point guard of all time. Even if you talk about the NBA, obviously Shea's about to make a real run at it. Probably has him locked up for that now. So I got Rajon running the point. Jeff Shepard, Final Four most outstanding player. Obviously his son Reed played here as well. And what was it? Do you remember his mom's name? I know his mom played at the university as well. I can't remember. I want to say it's like Stacy, but I'm not 100% sure. But
only somebody told us her name once a week for a whole year.
Yeah, and you think we'd remember that, but we also tried to forget that season as we ended a little bit earlier than we liked. And I'm getting one of the best scorers in Kentucky basketball history, Jody Meeks. He's been playing maybe a little out of position, running the 3. But like we mentioned, not too many great wings with this Tubby Smith era. And then I got 2 really good bigs, I think. Jamal McGlure and Randolph Morris both can score with their back to the basket. Both have them big bruisers who can grab rebounds. We're going to have to work on, finding a way to space the floor a little bit. Hopefully Jeff Shepard and Jody Meeks can provide us that. That's my only worry with this roster is that currently. And then off the bench, I got a taller version, even like a more John Calipari version. Point guard, taller guard, and Derek Jasper. Marquise Estes will give me some more size off the bench as well. And then just to round it out with a nice wing, Ramon Harris. I mean, Jacob, I don't know if you remember. Remember we used to have those like plaid jerseys?
Yeah.
And he went down with a scary injury. Remember, had to get carted off the floor. That was really scary. And then he came back and was still really good and had scored 5.5 his last season with the Cats before Calipari came in and kind of shipped him off. But getting Ramon on there to add a little bit of defense and just a little bit of size as well. I like my team. Obviously, if I'd have taken the emotions out of it, I think Tayshaun would have been the 1-1 pick. But I do like the lineup that I've consistent.
I would have thrown the emotion right back at you by taking Rondo number 2. So it's not like you were far off with that pick. It was just poor Boyers had to get 3rd pickings.
Hey, that's all right. When Keith Bogans is sitting there at number 3, you ain't gonna complain.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this is probably a lot more up for debate. These 3 teams, I think, obviously, a little bit of the older generation of Kentucky fans will be able to help us out with which ones they like the best from this draft. Let us know. You team Jacob Boyers, I'm going to say that's a tough take because just attaching your name with that guy is kind of I don't know if you want to do that. Same thing with Tyler Britton, or you could go with the stand-up guy myself, and let's go ahead with Rajon Rondo, Jeff Shepard. We're talking about Kentucky loyalty, those 2 guys. Sure. Kentucky loyalty, let's keep it in the state. You guys got anything to say? Obviously, big week for football, some basketball news, just rounded out our Tubby teams. Anything you guys got to say to the loyal Cats Talk podcast listeners?
No, let's just get through these next however many weeks of off season until we get to August 30th, and you know, Sunshine Pumper football. Jacob Boyer's here, and I'm going to say, can't wait for August 30th to kick off this great year we're going to have here in football.
Yeah, it's getting here quicker than you think. I mean, the TBT team starts next week as well, so I mean, got some things to hold us over until then. Obviously,
a lot of summer league. You get to watch a lot of our guys in the summer league right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to go watch. Obviously, Jacob, you're and I Reds. 2-2 from the Marlins, not the best series, obviously, but after starting 0-2 and getting back to 2-2, that's good. We got the Rockies this weekend, so hopefully, a good weekend that'll get us going.
Yeah.
All right, BBN, that's all we got here for the Cats Talk podcast. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Obviously, get all your content on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. That's all for the three of us for the Cats Talk podcast. Let us know who you thought had the best Tubby team. The best Tubby team. That just sounds good. I like saying it. Tubby team, Tubby team, Tubby team. Whoever got the best one, let us know. Let us know in the comments. With that being said, go Big Blue. Everybody have a safe weekend.
Go Big
Blue.